Hello there, it's Andrea Jackson from Nu-Gnu. And today I'm going to be talking about the 5 questions that every training provider should be asking their learners. Now, I'm going to be doing a presentation. And for anybody who knows me, knows that I'm technically brilliant at all of this stuff. But what you will see is a very confused face while I'm trying to change screens. So let's share the screen, which will be done. You can see my face thinking, what the heck is happening? This is all fine. Do you know what? There's so many buttons to click. Okay, and here we are. So hopefully you can see this. So Nu-Gnu, we support training providers to improve the quality of their provision. We use questions based on the Ofsted framework, and we identify whether the impact of the training is meeting the needs of the learner. And we then work with the business to improve. So that's what we do. And let's start off where we about the questions. So these questions are built to enable you to identify if your training provision meets the needs of your learner. Because what we know is that absolutely the training provider has to know whether that training provision meets the needs from the learner. And the only way to find that out really is to ask the learner. We also know that during these challenging times, this has been more difficult than ever. I mean, goodness gracious, we're going into the second lockdown and things are changing all the time. We still don't know what's going on with functional skills, etc. So for this reason, it is vital that you, the training provider, really know the thoughts and feelings of the learner about the impact that your apprenticeship is having. So Nu-Gnu, this is what we do. We normally take a random sample of 50 learners. We do it over a 20-day period, but you can sample as many as you feel that will give you an indication of the impact of your training delivery. So we've picked 5 questions. Now, in the space of a 15-minute conversation, we usually ask about 40 questions. It's important that you understand why the questions are being asked. And so what we've done is we've included an Ofsted statement based on that question. Now, this shows what they said during an inspection. So this is an inspection, bit of an inspection report that was written by Ofsted of what they said about the findings they found from that question. Okay, then. So obviously, it is our true belief that you, the training provider, should be constantly checking your learners' perception. You need to know every time what the learner is thinking about your training provision and how you can improve it to meet those needs. But if you're doing these questions regularly, and it's based on Ofsted statements, that you know that you're always going to be on the right track. So let's start with the questions. Question 1. So the question 1 that we normally start off with is, tell me how you decided to take this program qualification, who gave you the initial advice, and what information was given to you. Now, we all know what the startup process looks like, okay, but how does the learner feel about that startup process? So the Ofsted statement said, after they found the findings based on this question, was information, advice and guidance must be stronger throughout. It's great showing that we have the documentation for it, but all learners must receive this on whatever program they are embarking on. And you must attach it to the learner file. Information, advice and guidance must be more specific for each program. So this is before the sign-up program. How were they approached? What support did they get from the training provider to ensure they were going to be signed up on the right program? Did they have a choice of programs? Was the employer part of the process? And how were the skill level ascertained at the start of the program? So were they on the right level to be able to complete this program and for the program to be stretching and challenging them? Okay, question 2. So what is the curriculum you are working towards? So far, how far are you in with your curriculum? This is a brilliant question. Now, one thing I will say is that if you're going to be asking the questions, and I've done this myself, I've worked for the company, I've asked the questions, it is so easy to give an answer to an answer that they've given us. So it may be that they said, well, you know, I didn't know what course I was on, and you will absolutely say, well, this is a course, blah, blah, blah. It's very important that you don't do that, that you have to stay objective to this. Okay, so this is a question 2. What curriculum? How far are you? So the training provider curriculum must match the leadership and management intent and be able to demonstrate this from the leaders to the training coordinators and the learners and employers. Now, the curriculum, whilst designed with employers, must still be adapted to meet the needs of your individual learners. Now, I have got, I had a question that was raised on my Facebook page, basically saying that an employer wanted to pick the units, wanted to pick the level for their employees. Clearly, no. It has to meet the individual needs of the students. This discussion must happen at the very start of the programme and agreed with both the student and the employer. These must be documented and must show that there is regular consideration throughout the programme with the use of the individual learning plan and continued changes to reflect how we are managing our students' journey with us. Now, this is more important than ever now, isn't it? With all of the changes that are happening, the fact that we've got new restrictions, the fact that we don't know when we're going to be able to see the learners, the fact that our delivery is going to be changing, all of these must be put down in the individual learning plan. But also, more importantly, the learner needs to know this. So the student, which is the biggie, the student must be able to answer this question themselves without the training provider having to prompt them as to what this is and when it happened. So basically, the learner needs to be at the heart of their curriculum. They need to know what they're doing. They need to know where they are. They need to be in control of their own curriculum. So the learners should be able to refer confidently to their ILP and the scheme of work, either sitting in the ILP or the framework curriculum scheme of work, which they should have a copy of. So basically, it's really ensuring that the learner knows where they are, what they're doing. Okay, question 3. So this is a goodie. So for learners with the same or higher level of qualification, what new skills and knowledge have or will you have learned to enable you to be better in your role and progress? So the training provider must ensure that when the learner's prior attainment level is taken, that the programme is considered to be correct for them. Where they have studied to a higher level, there must be justification as to why they require these skills to go on the programme. They must also ensure that where the prior attainment is higher or equal to the programme, that they are stretched and challenged on the programme. The one thing I do find is that learners are really happy to show how good they are to anybody. And I find that as an inquirer now. So I'm objective, I'm speaking to learners, and they're really happy to tell us about how fantastic and they're enjoying the programme, etc., etc. But one of the things that they can say is, oh, yes, I've been doing this job forever. Oh, well, no, I haven't actually learned anything because I knew it all. Now, for them, that's a positive because they're brilliant. For us, of course, it's, are they on the right programme? So the learner should know why they are on that level of qualification that they're on, what new skills that they don't know, what they are learning that they didn't know before. Number 4, how has your maths knowledge improved since starting the programme? This is a fantastic one. So what mathematical skills can you now show? It is really important that the learner can tell us what they're learning. So it's really important that we don't just do maths, English, put it in a box because it's done. We need to keep showing them what they're doing, how they're doing it, have they still, because do they know it rather than can they remember it? I think that's what we're talking about. Question 5. I love this question. What can the training provider improve on to make your learning experience more enjoyable and satisfying? I find the answer to this when I am asking the questions fascinating. The learners have a really good knowledge of what could make it better. Now, when I was working for a training provider, that's really difficult because they will give you some idea, like, well, possibly we could do this, but you know the reason why you can't do it. So you'll say, well, that's fine, but that's not the point of an inquiry. Because you need to ensure your learners know that you have listened and what changes you have made. And if you haven't made them, the reasons why. So at the end of the inquiry that you've done, you go back to the learner and go, do you know what? You said we did. Or you said we'd like to, but we couldn't. That way the learner really feels at the heart of your training provision. Now, things that I've just been speaking about is it is so important that the questions are asked objectively, the learner's not interrupted, and that the time and place of the conversation is agreed with the learner beforehand. You can't just get them off the hoof. It is useful if the conversation is recorded, obviously with the learner's permission, so that you, the contact, can transcribe the conversation afterwards. Now, this will enable the full concentration of the contact and enable the contact to probe and gain greater clarity for the answers being given. Because obviously these questions aren't just a wanna. You start off with that question, and if they say something that sort of makes you want to investigate further, you'll ask the second question and the third until you've got really good clarity on that answer that's being given. Now, also important, it is so important the exercise is not used to blame anyone for something that's not been done. The findings should be the start of a process of improvement. Now, the questions should start identifying key themes throughout the training provision. So you'll be asking several learners and they'll be saying roughly the same thing. Now, so it's wise then to focus on key themes when planning the improvement process. Also, very, very important, it's really important that you put your improvements together, that you do it, because it's not enough for you to listen and look at the issues. You've got to do something about it, because without doing something about it, it doesn't improve. Now, we're giving these questions away free on our website. So if you'd like to visit our website, there's a ticker tape going through at www.nu-gnu.com. Pop-up will come on and you just need to put your email address in and we'll send you this link. So we'll send you the whole link. But if you feel that you would benefit from our support, please just give me a ring. My number's there, Andrea Jackson, no obligation chat. Quite happy to go through the process of it. We have a step-by-step process that we use. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing now. Oh, you see how clever is that? Do you know, one of these days I'm going to get really good at this and you're not going to even notice that I've done a presentation. So that was my first presentation. I feel quite chuffed about that. So as I say, thank you so much for listening. Either live, thank you, or at your own convenience in your own time, thank you. It's really important if you want the questions to come to our website. As I say, on the ticker tape, www.Nu-Gnu.com. We've got a pop-up that's there that you just need to pop your email address in and we'll send you that presentation so you don't have to take notes, which is, I always find fantastic. And then what we've also done is we're going to be putting these questions. It's another little presentation that I've done about the same sort of thing on our tutor IQA support page, which is called Quality, and that's on our Facebook page. So the Nu-Gnu's Facebook page, we've got the support page for you completely free, and that gives hints and tips. Each week I'll put new hints and tips on, and obviously the hints and tips for this week are the ones that I've just done. And so obviously you can see us on LinkedIn. This live will be on LinkedIn as well, and YouTube. So that's all I need to say. Thank you so much for listening. Your support has been fantastic. This is the year that we've really consolidated all of our building blocks. We've put all our building blocks in place. So this year for us is really, really exciting. So and it'll be great if you join us on that journey. Thank you so much.